Yeah.
Son of a
Un saluto a tutti.
Buongiorno Bianconeri. Welcome back to the All Juve Cast channel, where of course it's all Juve all the time, and we've got a victory to talk about. All right, 3-0 for the good guys, taking down Salernitana, getting the Vlahovic brace. Oh yeah, all good stuff this morning to tackle.
Right.
And
Let's get it out of the
there
way.
was an injury scare, but not the worst of news. Obviously, we were going to get to the game recap first and then get to the news. Yes. Luca, come. Let's get the formalities out of the way. Alberto finally nailed the prediction. Luca, do we need to get into the percentages? I'm way ahead of you on nailing predictions. So watch yourself. Watch yourself. All right. But yeah, 3-0. I was a little shy on cards, but at the start, I thought I was going to nail that too, because it started off a super chippy game, but they stopped at 2 cards. Thought he was going to get really trigger happy with the cards. Bob Yogasla coming in. Ciao, AJC Forza Juve. 3 in the total. Roll on. Vito, good morning, fellas. Really nice to see Dusan Vlahovic back in action. There you go. Adriano Vlahovic is just getting warmed up. Well, I tell you what, if that's the beginning, I look forward to the rest, because we need him firing and we need him doing that exact business the rest of the way out. So good stuff there. I'm going to remind everybody that's tuning into this on your audio outlets, get over to YouTube, okay, and subscribe to the channel. That's where you get all the extras, the match day lives, the interviews and everything. And we have our interview. We had to postpone and reschedule with Mirko Di Natale. He will be live with us this Saturday morning, same standard time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. It's his day off, but hey, his love for the AJC remains strong, and he's going to show up and give us some good stuff. That's going to be a fun little interview. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Now, I've got Anthony, I've got Omer, and we're ready to tackle what was Juve and Salernitana. You boys ready to rock? Let's rock. I think we're ready to rock. The green room is a beautiful place before these shows, and yeah, we were rocking.
I'm running at about 85%, but hey, we gotta make that transparent to the
we
viewers.
Were rocking. Let's get to the game. As mentioned, we will get to the news after we recap the game. So get to the matchup, the starting lineup. Omar, we remember your thoughts on the starting lineup, and that was great stuff. Sparked a little bit of debate there on goalkeepers and everything, but starting lineup for Juve was as follows. We had Szczesny in goal, Danilo, Bremer, Sandro, Lord Deschilio at right wing back, Miretti starting next to Locatelli and Rabiot, Kostic on the left wing back role with Di Maria and Vlahovic up top. So we don't need to get back into the details, I think, on the starting lineup. If there were a few changes that we would have liked to have seen and made, but I said in my prediction, I said, you know what, for all the heat that fans are going to give this starting lineup, watch us play a strong game and watch us score a bunch of goals. Lo and behold, Salernitana, and yes, Juve gets 3. Now,
maybe, just maybe,
I did
Max
say,
knows what he's doing.
I did say Salernitana does not typically play a 4-3-3. They played it against Lecce, and they got away with it. But I said if they play a 4-3-3 against us, we should handle them comfortably, because that 4-3-3 with them, especially with not their standard fullbacks in there and whatnot, like, we should be asking a lot of questions and taking it to them. And I'm proud of the boys for doing just that. We're going to get to the highlights real quick, and then we'll be able to give our overviews. Dusan looked into this thing right off the hop. One of the first things you could probably notice and point out is that Dusan looks in the mood. And yeah, he carried that forward in the 25th minute. Di Maria gets a lovely ball in there for Miretti, who gets fouled by Hans. Nicolucci Caviglia, who was getting a lot of praise in the days leading up to this game. I feel bad for the youngster, because he had an absolute shocker out there yesterday. But it's not going to change my mind on him and what the future could be and whatnot. But he did have a shocker. So gets the PK in there. And Dushan steps up. This was a hell of a PK, posting in. No chance for the Mexican sensation there, Ochoa. So 1-0.
No one's stopping that. No one's stopping that PK.
No, absolutely not. He guessed right and still wasn't even close. So hell of a PK there. 43rd minute, we get a scare with Moretti. Looked really bad too. Watching it, a lot of different initial reactions on what could have possibly happened. Anthony, what did you think it was that had happened first sight live?
I had to watch it a couple times. I'm like, did he get stepped on? But he was like mid-air. The first thing you think of is Achilles, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was weird to try and figure out what it was. Like watching
like a month. That sounds like a high ankle sprain, but looks like all indications that's just a sprain, which is good.
Yes. No fractures being reported today, and just a sprain. But yeah, Omer, what were you thinking when watching that live? It's hard to figure out.
It's always tough. We've seen that too many times. Still, like memories from Spinazzola and Chiesa, and tons of injuries when you see the player crying and just breaking down. Usually, an indication that they know it's serious. It's nothing regular.
Mm-hmm.
At first glance, I said, "Okay, foul. He got kicked or stepped on." But then watching it again, it wasn't like a foul or anything. It just a misstepped or something, but it was very hard to tell from the video.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it was inflicted by anyone. It's just something, misfortune.
Yeah. No, it was I couldn't figure out. It's always weird when you watch those, but yeah, I mean, going up for an aerial duel and then coming down, and he was clenching his leg higher up, and I was like, oh, thinking like knee at first,
Calf.
but then ankle. Like it was just weird. Good news today though. 3 weeks apparently is what it's looking like, and no fractures. 45th minute, couple minutes after that, because Fagioli ends up coming in for Moretti, and I have to say, it's something I've been saying for a while. He is better, and he also got kicked in the nuts. Yeah. My stomach. He's Moretti ends up obviously having to leave the game. Fagioli comes in. This was a really strong showing for Moretti in that opening 43 minutes before getting injured too. It has to be stated. And it's something that, a few of us pointed out now for a couple shows anyways, that he's a different player when he's playing as a Mezzala as opposed to that second forward. And that was coming through yesterday. And he was actually working very well with Di Maria as well. And yeah, it's a shame that the injury had to take him out of there, because I was looking forward to seeing him grow in that game. And potentially that could have been one where he gets that goddamn monkey off his back and maybe finds a goal, and then can hopefully just build off that. But nonetheless, here we are. 45th minute, couple minutes after that, and Fagioli coming into the game. There's a cross that comes in. The clearance is weak, and it falls for Vlahovic, who goes off-footed volley, gets it all wrong, puts his arms up in despair, but Kostic follows up, taps her home. Now, just for fun, do you give Vlahovic the break because it's an off-foot volley, or do you expect him to hammer the goal on that one?
Wasn't he trying to hit it with his left?
It was his right foot, because he is left-footed.
The striker's got to be able to hit with both feet, man. I don't give a shit. You're a professional footballer, striker. You got to be able to hit with both feet. Not like equally, but at that range, come on.
Yeah.
It worked out.
Yeah. It should. But it happens. Sometimes it just, it's inches.
Sometimes you misfire. Yes.
Wide and just you misfire. And if he would have tried to, set up Kostic in one touch, no way it lands the same way it did. Like
Kostic doesn't finish that if it's a pass on the ground. There's no way.
Yeah, like that was super lucky. It came out better, because I don't know if he would have scored it anyway.
But when was the last time we got like a scrappy, shitty goal like that? We don't get those. We haven't been getting those. Like, we need more of those.
Yeah.
That just kind of come out of nowhere.
I laughed about it, and I said, shake it off as a pass there, Dushan, and let's move on, because it is what it is. Yeah, he's he's trying to tackle that on the volley off foot. If it was on the ground, I would expect hitting goal. Volley off foot, yeah, you can scuff it and get it wrong. That's what happened. We go into half 2-0. Now, even before half, there was a lovely, lovely play, a lovely movement that ended in, it was Di Maria to Rabiot, and then you see Locatelli advance. Another touch back to Di Maria, who pops it over the top for Locatelli. He gets onto this thing, tries to touch it past Ochoa, but he makes the save. That would have been 3 in the first half. Obviously stopped, and it shuts down at half 2-0. Your thoughts at halftime, everybody? Omer, why don't you kick us off on your thoughts at half?
Well, like I get, okay, we were leading to nothing. I just can't take it out of my head that it's still Salernitana, a severely depleted Salernitana. That should be a win. We should be 2-0 by halftime. No, it's not negative. It's just, let's put it all into perspective and look, be happy with the win. I am happy with the win. It's a depleted Salernitana. We should win it. We need to win it. Even by halftime, they gifted us tons of opportunity, and we took advantage. That's what Juve used to do. If you screw up, you'll get punished. Used to do. We don't see it that often, but
right.
Let's put it all into perspective. We got the chances, we took them, and we could rest. And you don't see Max yelling on the sidelines when we're up 3-0 and it's the 70th minute. So great. Overall, I enjoyed. Juve played great. Had some beautiful plays, beautiful opportunities. Some of them got in, some of them didn't. But I would have really liked to see a Locatelli goal in that half. Really.
Yeah. All right. Ant, your thoughts at half?
Allegri got the lineup right. Everyone was complaining about DeCilio. Okay, he didn't.
No, that's my point. It's
didn't hurt us, right?
That
didn't
lineup
hurt us.
should win.
So there you go. The other thing was I was running the main yesterday, the main account. Oh man, someone actually put Di Maria meh. I'm like,
Di Maria what?
Meh. Like he was okay. Whatever.
Di Maria was good.
I was like, so these are the things that sort of like get my stomach acids going. So maybe I should just stop there.
Yeah,
I thought it was probably one of our better halves of the season.
Yeah, it was in terms of you start to see some changes in terms of the willingness of even Locatelli where he plays in the midfield, but getting forward, and that's what we're seeing yesterday. The approach was spot on, and like I said, I made the joke tweet about watch us start off all behind the ball against Salernitana after all the talks leading into it, and that wasn't the case. We played on the front foot, and it's what we need to do to these teams, especially when they're hurting at the back, not having two of their main defenders, and they're playing 4-3-3, which is not a favorable setup when you're playing against the 3-5-2. We should control it. We should be creating chances, and we were. I like the fact that we were stretching the field too. We were looking for Vlahovic up over the top, and it was pushing Salernitana back, and then we can have that space to work the ball on the ground. Usually we're so one-dimensional up the flanks, and that wasn't the case yesterday. We were actually mixing it up quite well, taking what was given to us, and guys were doing well to work into the spaces. So there were a lot of positives. Was it Salernitana? Yes, but on any given day, you can only play the team that you're lined up against, and yesterday they were doing well, and we've struggled against Salernitana previously and other low-ranked teams, whether they're fit or missing a couple guys. We've played awful ball. So, take it for the positives and what it is. My hope, again, and I said it at halftime, I didn't even have to wait for the full final scoreline and everything, but I said my hope is that we don't change that approach in any game or against any opponent. You have to play way more on the front foot and get after it. And you need to commit bodies forward. We're not scared to do that yesterday. You've got a team that's depleted in terms of some key guys at the back, but you can't be scared to play like that against teams that are full strength too. And that's my big thing moving forward and what we take from it. But halftime, 2-0, great start. We don't even have to wait long in the second half to get our third goal. And that was a great pass from Fagioli after an awful pass, has to be said. Salernitana, he cuts it out. He finds Vlahovic, and Vlahovic has a hell of a finish there. That's the brace. That's 3-0. That's game. Game's done. Obviously, Salernitana tries to come back, but they're firing shots from well out. Like, we don't really give them much. There was one bad turnover by Juve that gave them a decent opportunity, but again, Tech sees it wide. 52nd minute, a nice ball over the top for Vlahovic. Again, he holds up the ball, finds Di Maria, who blasts this thing off the crossbar. Could have been 4. Bonazzoli comes in and probably has the best opportunity for Salernitana. And again, it was just a ball that wasn't getting cleared out of our area, falls to him on the volley, but he ends up missing it wide. 84th minute, Asa slips one through for Moise Keane. And those guys came in and did well too in it. But like I said, Salernitana was depleted at that point. And Keane smashes the short side post there. And that's pretty much it. And it wraps up 3-0 to the good. And we move. So again, second half, probably naturally a little bit of a layoff at 3-0, but still didn't allow a whole bunch. So I'm happy with this victory. Kind of summed it up at half. The second half didn't change my mind. We need to be ready to approach all teams and everything like that. Do you guys have anything to add at full time on this one?
First of all, Anish, I didn't predict a loss. I predicted a 2-1 win.
You predicted a draw.
No, predicted 2-1 win.
Win. Okay.
Yeah, late in the 80 minutes.
Right.
Honestly, wait. Tony, take over for a second.
My thoughts on the game was my parlay went to shit when I had over 2.5 Vlahovic anytime score, but both teams to score. I could have used a Salernitana goal yesterday.
Ooh.
And I had DeShilio plus 1900 anytime goal score. I was pretty upset at that. Costas anytime assist. He had that one when he was running down the side. All he had to do was slip it across to Rabiot. Wide open net. There was my Kostic anytime assist. That went into the trash bin too. So
I think we could have easily put 2 or 3 more here, taking our chances that we created. We had some very good opportunities. Chiesa could have had one. He just shot it wide. Keane hitting the post. Some more opportunities like Kostic. But overall, it was a good game. Like I enjoyed watching it. You see the flip side of dominating and pushing the other team back and making them make mistakes and making them chase the game instead of us chasing the game. And suddenly you're much more relaxed. It's easier to integrate substitutions and let them play because suddenly there are a lot of spaces opening up behind the defense. Overall, enjoyable. I really enjoyed that match. Good Tuesday. Good Champions
It was good. Hey, it's okay to be entertained regardless of what's going on with the other team and everything like that. That was enjoyable football to watch. It was proper football. Again, we just have to be able to do it against all the damn teams. So
and let's remember, it's important. If they would have won it, they would have jumped us in the table.
Yes.
Now we've jumped Fiorentina. It was an important win, although Salernitana and everything. Beautiful.
Well, and just get back on track. We went over some key stats going into this one, and Juve was winless in like the 3 Serie A matches leading up to this one. Dusan Vlahovic spoke quite well after the game, and he said it's all about winning. We have to win. It's all about the points. They're at 26. Like, it's important right now more than ever to just keep tallying up these wins. Max Allegri spoke about it. He's got a number in his mind, which is 40 that they have to see and hit. They're all thinking about it. This is one of the problems I have with dishing out a penalty beyond president and all that. Beyond all that, it's while a championship is being played and it's not even settled and everything, to dish out a punishment like this that puts this weight and bearing on these guys is beyond me. But again, I will digress from there. Trident. Well, first, let's get to the man of the match. We should do that first. So, man of the match, we'll see if we all have the same. If there's any outside calls, live chat, man of the match. I see some questions coming in. We'll let you guys know. We're going to flag them. We're going to have probably a pretty lengthy Storm the Barn session today. So, just hang tight and fire away I also have some messages from WhatsApp. Sal Agrusa, a friend of ours, put one in through WhatsApp. So, I'll drop this here for anybody. This is how you get in when we do the live call-ins as well. That's me on WhatsApp. Okay, you can add it. I've had a great time talking to all you guys who've been supporting us since day one and whatnot. So there it is, free for everybody. So if you ever want to even just chat Juve, you can fire away. But we do have a Storm in the Barn that came in through WhatsApp yesterday because he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to join us. So thank you, Sal, for that. Man of the Match, sponsored by Striped Hearts Apparel. If you haven't seen the new Amici di Nessuno gear, make sure you go and check it out, all right? And if you choose to support the channel through there, I thank you, everybody who already has and those who are going to. Man of the Match, we got Vlahovic, not even close. Dusan, Luca, notable. BV9, Vlahovic. Anthony, your man of the match.
Vlahovic is obviously the easy one, but I'm going to take a page out of Omer's book where that's his job. His job is to put balls in the back of the net. So he did his job. I was overly impressed with Fagioli yesterday. He came in and he elevated, Miretti was playing good, but when he came in, I felt the whole team just went up a notch. So Vlahovic is the easy one, but for me, I thought that was probably one of Fagioli's best showings of the year.
There you go. Omer, Vlahovic for you?
Yeah, hard to disagree. When someone scores a brace, he usually will be the man of the match. And looking overall, because Vlahovic is the easiest answer, and Anthony mentioned Fagioli, so a shout out to Lucatelli, who dominated and bossed the midfield throughout the game. And a very, very rare shout out to Alexandro, who he was good. He was keeping marking Bonazzoli when he came in. He cleared a lot of balls. He was always in possession. Found himself with a lot of space, even in the attacking phase. He was solid. Didn't put a foot wrong all game, so that's new. So he deserves a shout out.
Yeah,
he hasn't had back-to-back. I can't think of back-to-back bad games from Sandro this season.
Can't think.
No, he hasn't been like our option, great option going forward, but he hasn't been a problem this year, and people keep putting on.
Oh, there's been some games. There's been some games.
We already hinted your memories.
Yeah.
What I just say?
For man of the match, I mean, obviously Dusan Vlahovic, but I like talking about the outside guys. Sometimes it says a lot about the games when you start getting more and more names that you can add into the back.
Yep.
Kostic, I think, can be up there. Great showing for himself yesterday. Locatelli, I love the Locatelli shouts. I even noticed in the huddle yesterday, he was the one leading the charge. You see the video and everything that's put out there. We're starting to see something we haven't out of Locatelli before. And I said that this whole scenario is going to tell us a lot more about the guys that we do have. And if they are right guys to be those pillars moving forward, we're going to find out a hell of a lot more about Chiesas, Locatelli, and even the young guys like Fagioli. You're going to learn a hell of a lot more with all this adversity that they're facing and whatnot. And for me, there's a definite shift in Locatelli that I'm seeing. And everybody knows where I stand with Luca and whatnot, but I'm not just saying this because he's my guy and I've been pumped since we signed and whatnot. Like, you could see it. Can you guys see the shift in Luca?
Not only since yesterday. Like, it's been from maybe October where he really took the reins in midfield and started
when he
shouting.
Came back from that personal leave right about then.
Yeah, he really just was up to the task and wanted to take initiative and take control and navigate everyone in the midfield. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, depends who plays with him, but he seems to have a really good understanding with Fagioli. And like Anne said, Fagioli came in and was just storm, washed away the midfield. And a lot of it is thanks to Luca, who provides defensive coverage for everyone. He doesn't get up too much, but his job is to navigate everything, and he does it perfectly so far.
Yeah.
I don't want to burst RB Comps' bubble, but Paredes will play again.
Yeah,
you have too much football to play.
RB, man, I'm sorry.
He's gonna play.
Gonna play again.
That's another question I have. Like, okay, so we sold McKennie. Miretti is out for 3 weeks, which in Juve terms means a month and a half.
3 months.
Possibly. So we're left with not a lot of midfielders, honestly. So someone has, we change formation, or someone has, to be brought up and start playing. I can only think of, what's his name, Barenchea. It's the only one. I know
someone mentioned him earlier.
Yeah, possibly. Pogba is still injured, no time on his recovery. So we're left with who? With Fagioli, Paredes, Rabiot, and Locatelli. That's our guys right now.
Fagioli, Paredes, Rabiot, Locatelli, yeah.
So what would you do? Shift formation or bring someone from the U23?
Well,
Max isn't changing formations.
A formation shift, especially if we're going to end up going, I still say it's worth, some of these things are worth a shot, especially if, if and when Paul comes back or whatnot. But I don't know, probably lean towards formation shift, to be honest. But I think we've been saying it for a while now. It's time to see something a little bit different maybe and try and get some more going on. But we're going to get into that first. I'm going to wrap things up on still man of the match, outside man of the match. I thought Di Maria was fantastic. Di Maria, moving away from him next season, there is some rumblings and some fans that are like, who is going to take that over? Who's going to do that? Who's going to be this guy that's going to lead the charge creatively for Juve? And people are already thinking about this next season and who's going to be this guy, whatnot. And number one, Di Maria has been a mixed bag, and that was he had a strong showing, and he's a class player. But again, it's been a mixed bag, and we are still using him outside of his comfort zone. So
what are you doing?
I wouldn't be too concerned with that just yet. And if we get things right, it could take over by the majority, and maybe Fagioli continues to grow. Maybe we push Fagioli a little more forward. Like I said, run a 3-man mid, but 2 pivots, 1 more advanced. I think Fagioli could do that role. And Sule is a good shout because you have Sule out there and whatnot. He's got a long way to go, I think, in terms of when we talk about young guys that really have to adapt their games. I think Sule still has a much longer way to go than some of the other younger guys. I'd like to see him hit that fucking ball with conviction sometimes too.
He's got to eat a couple more panini.
Soft.
Yeah, he needs some more pasta in his life. He got to get some more carbs. He's got a carbo load.
But anyways, you guys, what I can't help but feel when I hear these things, let's not worry about that just yet. Let's worry about this season. We have Di Maria here now. Let's look to the future. Let's cross that bridge when we get there. We have so much other stuff to worry about right now, and fans thinking about what the next step is after Di Maria and whatnot. Relax. Now, the funny thing is that while this goes on, there's apparently a 12 million euro release clause for Paulo Dybala.
What are we even talking about? Come on.
Cheap return for Paulo Dybala?
Come on, we'll buy Ronaldo back before we buy Dybala again. No way they're going for it.
Okay, hang on.
No way he comes back.
No,
I don't see it happening.
I think there's a lot of people that would buy him back. A lot of fans would be like, 12 million, easy. If Di Maria's out, a lot of people would take him back for 12 million.
Okay. Another report is that the Zerbi has the same release clause from Brighton.
13 million.
No, 1 more million.
The Cherby.
Pocket money.
Can he play left back?
You can play wherever you want him to play.
All right. So here's the thing. I just like having fun and break things like that. If you wanted to ask my honest opinion, it's done. It's done. It's dusted. We've ended that, and it's time to look forward. But it's always fun to bring these things up and talk about it. Trident said we would get into formations, everything like that. Would you continue? We talked about this a lot, actually, that yesterday could have been the match for Max to try something new. 3-4-3, 4-3-3, if you wanted to and whatnot. He had the players available. We saw him still go with Vlahovic, Di Maria, and then bring Chiesa on after, which Chiesa looked good too. Do you keep the trident broken up still? Or do you fire away soon?
Go ahead, Omer. I got to bring something up here.
I'll fire away soon.
Yeah.
I'll do the shift. Having said that, Di Maria in the middle is something we don't have yet. Like the chances he creates from like center area of the attack and not from the wings is incredible. He puts balls in. He put the ball in for Miretti for that foul, the penalty. He put Lucatelli through. He put Dusan through. He's great in the middle. If we do move to something, I wish it would be 4-2-3-1 because we're lacking midfielders and because I think it plays better to our type of guys, but no problem with our 4-3-3, but I would make the shift immediately.
All right. So you would get into that soon and figure out what we got. Okay. That's fair. Ant, are you on the same wavelength there?
No, I'm a big proponent of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that again, I'm just looking at the numbers. 8 games in a row, 0 conceded, 8 wins. Then we ran into that fucking buzzsaw of that Napoli team, and then 2-1 win against Monza, and then 2-1, and then 3-3 draw against Atalanta. Then we had that minus 15 points, brain fart against Monza again, and then 2 wins in a row. So I get, based on personnel, I could see it, but in the grand scheme of things, it ain't broke, so don't fix it.
Well, it kind of is broke.
Well, I was just going to say,
not always.
Has it not been broken? This was our first win out of 3 going into it. We were playing pretty abysmal ball. Like,
you can't,
I don't know.
That game against Monza,
conceding a lot.
The game against Monza was like 2 days after the minus 15 points. Just scratch that one off the books. Okay, the 3-3 draw against Atalanta.
No. I think that was before Atalanta.
Yeah, it was before Atalanta.
It was after Napoli. We lost 5-1 to Napoli, and then we got the verdict a few days later.
No, it was 5-1, and then we beat Monza in the Coppa Italia 2-1, and then it was a 3-3 draw.
Yeah,
and then it was the minus 15.
The Monza win.
And then it was the Monza loss. So
it was Napoli, Monza win, Coppa Italia, Atalanta draw, then Monza loss. Yeah.
Okay, so those 2 games there, like the Monza, the Napoli. Okay, Monza, you gave up 1 goal and then 3 goals. Like, there was that little stretch there, but other than that, I don't know. It's looked good the past couple games.
Yeah,
but based on personnel, I could see it, but overall, for me, it's not broke. Don't fix it.
I think what's tough is this. If we're looking at Juve, and this shines through yesterday, clear and simple, what I was saying about the approach, the pressure that we put on other teams, that willingness to get after it. Even against Napoli, there was a stretch there at the end of the first half in that game where we actually played properly. We were causing them fits. And it wasn't like he did change setup at that point, but the pressure that we applied to them. And then the second half, we came out and we were all behind the ball yet again. For me, half the battle isn't so much how we go out there and how we set up. It's really what we do in terms of pressure and our midfielders and bringing them forward and taking out other teams' options. For some reason, though, in this setup, there's an issue with when we try to press teams, having it in sync down the line in all the stages. It's always seems to be something. Either the forwards are missing an assignment or a midfielder is dropping back rather than coming forward. So again, direction, the players, who knows? But I think half the battle is the approach. And again, for me, what I'm going to look at forward, and especially we're going to find out coming up Thursday in the Europa League tie when we face Nantes, if we play them in the same manner, same approach. Because if we sit back, I'm going to be absolutely pissed. Juve needs to play on the front foot. It makes the game easier for their players as well. We talk about errant passes. You talk about bad decision making, all this. When we play a slow game and we're not forcing the opponents to make quick decisions, it's harder for us because they're already set. We are playing one-dimensional football where we go up the sidelines and there's zero options. We have nowhere to go but backwards. Yesterday, I like the fact we were mixing it up. We were playing through the middle. We were trying stretch passes to Dusan Vlahovic, and then our second forward was supporting him. We have to continue doing the right things to truly judge how much of the issue is the actual setup and how much is just our approach, right?
Yeah, what you're saying is true, especially take an example from last season, VRL. We got the early goal, then sat back behind the ball, eventually conceded. I hope you don't do that against Nantes. Go for those 2-3 goals that will give you, a relatively easy cushion. But it's the cohesion. Like when we do press, it's not everyone together all the time. So the back line still remains deep. So when you break out of the first press, you can coast forward for like 50 meters with uninterrupted. And that's where my problem lies with our presses. And when we do decide to press, it's not always everyone together. When you press high, everyone presses high. So when they break the first line of press, there's still another line to go through.
Yeah.
And that's where I see our problem.
And this is what I find shocking to me, that we aren't able to press so strongly in a 3-5-2, because if anything, it should make things a little bit easier to press, especially you've got your three center backs at the back. They should be pushing those mids up. Your flanks should be shutting those down. And for some reason, it's been too soft for teams to play out of against us. So we have to fix that first and foremost. And I don't think it gets easier in a 4-3-3, to be honest. I don't think it does when I look at our fullbacks and how we would have to play them and how their roles would change drastically. I'm not so sure. But again, I think it comes down more to how we played rather than the shape and whatnot. And something has to be said about emptying the clip. I like having one of Chiesa or Di Maria to come in there against some tired legs. I really do. But at the same time, we should see something where they're all out there. 4-2-3-1, like Omer was saying before. Hey, why not? Why not? But you're not going to drop that in the Europa League. Like, I think it's wrong to go in there and all of a sudden try and fire that away. So it's really down to Fiorentina, which could be a tough game for us. It has been over the past few. So I don't even know. I saw Salernitana as a good opportunity to do it. We didn't. So now I think you got to hold. If we're talking about getting the trident going, I think now you've that was your game. I think now we hold off for a bit.
Just to add, the 15 points, RB Comics was correct in the comments here. The 15 points were deducted before the Atalanta 3-3 draw.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, again.
And to be honest, they played a good game against Atalanta. Atalanta just buried our mistakes, man. But they played a good game. Vlahovic, Dusan Vlahovic. So, obviously had a strong showing from him. Man, we had a question a little while ago that was how many goals you think he finishes the season on and everything. What's he sitting at? He's sitting at around, I think, 8 now in 12 appearances.
8 and 12.
What's that?
And 2 assists.
And 2 assists,
10 goal contributions in 12 matches.
Dusan Vlahovic. Obviously, fans are nervous and everything about what could happen in the summer. We've been getting rumors that if something were to happen with Juventus, there's no European football, that Vlahovic could choose to
Luca
try and leave and whatnot. So here's the thing with Vlahovic. How many goals do we think he's going to finish up this season with?
I'm actually kind of shocked he's still 7th in the Serie A table, since they haven't scored since October. We got a good glimpse of I think in the past year we kind of forgot how good he can be when he's on his game, and last night he seemed far better. So if he continues that way, I mean that back heel on the touchline was beautiful. If you
Yeah,
know what I'm talking
nice
about.
turn there. Absolutely.
17.
Yeah, that's an informed Dushan, and I think he's going to get to 16 goals this
Serie
season.
A goals. I'll go. Yeah,
Serie A
I'll stick.
goals.
I'll say 17.
So you guys think he's going to finish 16, 17
Mhm.
in goals
Yeah.
in Serie A? So that's about another 9 goals. All right. In what? How many games? 17?
17 games.
Yeah. I'm going to say, so he's getting, yeah. I think he'll get another. So he's at 8. I think he'll finish, I think he's going to finish 19 or 20, to be honest. I think he'll finish around
Hopefully.
19 or 20.
How many hat tricks?
Oh, yeah. So the
Zero.
big uproar about
Zero.
Max pulling him and
I
stuff
agree,
like
Omer.
that.
0.
Let's
He's
not
done it to him
lose
twice.
let's not lose our heads over that one.
Yeah.
I saw some uproar from fans, him getting pulled. He was on a hat trick or whatnot. Look, he's just come back too. So let's
Yeah.
take it easy. Hat tricks are not our concern. Winning games are our concern.
Hat
And
tricks are nice.
Let's be
what's
honest.
that?
Let's be honest. If
Patties
you
are
want a
nice.
hot trick for Max Allegri, do it in the first half.
Yeah, well, hey, he had some more opportunities that he shanked. Bury one of those, you get your hat trick, buddy. But yeah, hat tricks are not our concern. Winning and getting those points are. Now, in terms of news, we're going to get to news. There were some questions earlier on about some news. We're going to tackle it right now. Pogba potentially Sunday. If not,
No
maybe
chance.
Nance in Europa League. Still just waiting. Bonucci could return Sunday to the team list for
Awesome.
Fiorentina. Miretti, we talked about earlier, 3 weeks out, no fractures. So
4
sprain,
months.
3 weeks out. Prisma, preliminary hearing, March 27th.
That
Juve
hasn't
could
changed.
push to move it to either Milan or Rome.
Mhm.
I think that has something to do with obviously what we're hearing about prosecution and everything. It must be noted that there's also a report that Santiorello could potentially pull himself from the hearings and everything, obviously in light
can
of what's
right.
happened. I stand the same as I did from the second dismissal. Juve needed to push back much, much harder before it got to this stage. Knowing this and everything that's going on, they need to continue to push back very, very hard. But preliminary hearing set for March 27th. I'm going to remind everybody right now, get your Storm the Barn questions in right now, okay? Because
I
we're
like
going to
the
start
video.
tackling all those, and we have a good amount of time to tackle those. You guys always have great, great stuff. So fire away. I'm going to let you guys get into anything on that news that you kind of want to touch on. Obviously, Pogba, Bonucci returning and whatnot. Moretti 3 weeks out. Bonucci returning, man, I don't know, rotational piece. Like, I don't see him coming in being a big, like he was pulled from big matches before he got hurt. Max wasn't leaning on him. So I don't think this is a big, big one. Not as big as when Paul comes back, because I think Paul's going to have a huge, huge impact. But does Bonucci make your starting CBs in a back four to get Danilo to a fullback position?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Doesn't want. No. Hey, I'm a big Bonucci guy, but jeez.
This is a great Storm the Barn question, by the way.
Don't stand up.
No, I'm wearing 2 actually.
Amazing, amazing. But yeah, Bonucci doesn't make Omar's starting center backs in a back four. Doesn't make mine, Anth.
Not right now.
Yeah.
Starting? No, not right now.
Yeah. We can get to this right now. What do you think of trying 4-3-3 with Pogba back in the lineup?
Might have
we
to.
could argue trying it before he even gets back in because, like I said, for me, the biggest thing in going to the 4-3-3 is I have a personal issue any way I line up a back four in this team. I have a problem with it any way I work it out in my mind. Either I have Rugani that now we're banking on as a center back, one of your two main center backs, to get our fullbacks to be Danilo and Cuadrado. I'm not huge on that pairing as fullbacks. It's probably our best. Kostic as just an outright fullback, I don't really know. Illing Jr., maybe, but we haven't seen it. Again, it would depend on the matchup, but I don't have a back four that I'm locked in and comfortable with.
I said nice things about Sandro earlier because I think he deserves it this season, but not when he plays in a back four. When he plays out there as a left back, it hasn't been good. Yeah, when he plays in a back three, he's been fine.
Yeah, I think if you're going to talk about Pogba, I think any way you have it in a three-man mid is going to be making an impact, whether it's 4-3-3 or 3-5-2, and he's one of those three midfielders. I think it's going to be fine either way. The 4-3-3 for me, it always goes back to the back line. Omer, what are you thinking?
We've talked about this a lot, so I don't have much to add. I'm pretty much with you. Like, the only downside of that is the fullbacks. You can't rely on either the left or the right. No one is good enough on the left. Not De Sciglio, not Sandro. Even Danilo on the left is miles worse than he is on the right. I would like to see it. I think it will eventually be sort of a 4-2-3-1. I think one of them will play up on the field. It was Miretti in the start of the season. If Pogba is available, I think it will be him. Which is interesting because what I do like to see is Fagioli, Lucatelli both as pivots together.
Yeah.
I think that's a killer combination.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I'd have absolutely no problems with that midfield and whatnot. But I don't know if just Pogba coming back means go 4-3-3. I think we need to see the 4-3-3 more for our forwards than we do the midfield, because you're going to have three in the middle any shape we play. Like, do you agree, Ant? Mm-hmm. It's more for the forwards, our 4-3-3.
It's the back line. I don't think we need to reiterate it more. I think the six up top isn't the issue. It's the four at the back. We can find six to play up there.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. Yeah. Well, barring injuries. Right now we can field those six. It's the four.
Go ahead. News is something that came out now by Sky Sport. Lucatelli is now owned by Juventus. The obligation has been triggered. Juventus will provide 25 million to Sassuolo, which could become 37.5 with agreed bonuses. 5 million has already been paid when he left, so 7.5 million still available in bonuses.
There we go.
So, welcome Lucatelli. There's no way back now.
That no-brainer piece of business there. Locatelli, I'll continue to face all the criticisms for Luca on his behalf, because I see it unwarranted. Had a little bit of a tough spell only when he had the personal stuff. So great news there.
I don't get it.
Awesome to get it live. Remo agreeing. Good news.
I don't get the Locatelli hate. I really don't. I don't get it.
I know.
He plays in a position where he's going to touch the ball or be around the ball a lot. So he's going to be on your TV screen a lot. It's like, I don't get it.
I can get it.
I'm going to get to Sal's Storm the Barn. Again, big thank you. And for you guys, even if we're not doing live call-ins, again, I put my number out there. I'll put it out again. This is me on WhatsApp. This is where you can get questions in if you want to, whatnot. And I think I didn't delete it. Perfect. So here, let's get to Sal's. I know both are important, but which do you think is more important in terms of retaining top talent? Winning or style of play? I'm worried that we lose players like Vlahovic if we continue to play pragmatically. And he would love to hear the thoughts from the group on that one. So, what do you think plays into it more, winning or style of play?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Go ahead. Fire away.
Sassuolo has a wonderful style of play, but they're a mid-table team every year. Winning cures everything. Winning, you play in Champions League, you get more money. Winning.
Yeah.
I get like style of play. Oh, Udinese, what a wonderful style of play. Clown show. Winning is what brings people in.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the correct answer is a mix of both to some degree, because youngsters want to play eventually.
Yes.
They don't want to sit on the bench, depending on the roles they're doing. Like the lift complaining about too much defensive work. You're a defender. Where's that coming from?
I think we're going to get 3 different answers. Continue on, Omer.
Yeah, but like Ant said, it really depends on the team you are and what you represent. For Ajax, it's the style of play. No, you said winning. Obviously, winning will make everyone want to stay.
Come on in.
Although
you guys win, I'm in.
We saw players who left because of.
I'm going to go. I'm going to go a different direction in my answer.
You stink.
And I'm going to say it's actually dependent on the player, really, because to some, when you're starting off and you're a youngster, like right now, minutes is key. And that's why you lose some youngsters. That's why the threat of Fagioli walking away from Juve was real, because he wanted the commitment to time. So at that stage, minutes are more important. When you start looking at guys that are trying to, at a different level, that want to continue on, Champions League becomes important. So then winning becomes a priority, not necessarily the style of play that we're playing. If we look at just Vlahovic as an example, if we have European football, say the points deduction doesn't come in, I don't think there's any threat of losing Dusan Vlahovic whatsoever. I think the threat is not having Champions League football next season. But again, it changes for the player. If we're winning, that said as well, if we're winning and a player isn't getting the minutes that he sees fit or whatnot, or can't find it in because of style of play, then that becomes an issue. So those two kind of go hand in hand, but it's really player dependent. So for us at Juve, it ultimately has to come down to winning. Like this team's like, we're at risk of losing guys we don't want to, simply because of the fact of results. And yes, it's because of a point penalty and whatnot, but that is the major risk right now.
I think there's 2 more points. First of all, it's a domino effect. Like one is related to the other. And when you don't win and you play bad football, players wouldn't want to stay. It can work either way. Sometimes you're winning without beautiful football and vice versa. So when this happens, then that happens, then. And the second thing is maybe more important, the manager. Sometimes it's not about tactics or anything. It's just getting along with your manager. Like, let's go back to the Sarri season. It didn't seem like anyone liked him as a person, and he didn't have this personal connection with the players who wanted to stay and play for him. There are managers who have that, some don't. So sometimes it just doesn't work. Different personalities. You can see it with Mourinho a lot. Tons of other managers. Cancelo was winning games and playing beautiful with Man City, and he still left to Bayern because it just didn't work out with Guardiola. So the manager is a big issue.
There's a lot of things going on. There's so many moving pieces that I don't think we can just say our style of play is the be all end all, then guys just won't want to play. If that was true, historically, we would have lost a lot more players than we actually did end up losing. And Max, this is nothing new to Max. Max has been with Juventus 5 years previously. Players weren't begging to leave Juventus. Yeah. We were on a stretch winning everything and whatnot. So ultimately it's results, because nobody was pounding on the door to get out of Juventus when we were in our heyday there. Winning is ultimately the right answer, in my opinion. But there are multiple factors, right? Great stuff. Anyways, great question. Cool to discuss and everything like that. We're going to get to some more here. Keep it going. Now let's go. Raso, do we let Bonucci finish his contract with us, or do we push him out? I don't think he's like Chiellini or other legends, so I wouldn't let him finish. I don't think there's going to be an option, to be honest. Nobody's going to be coming in for Bonucci.
Well,
I would sell him hands down. Like, if you can make money off him.
I just don't. I mean, sure,
I don't see it happening.
Who's coming in for Bonucci?
Yeah, if anyone, it's going to be a Sassuolo or Udinese or some mid-table.
Been wanting
team.
to sell Sandro for like 3 friggin' years. It doesn't matter. Like, nobody's coming knocking.
And that's a Juve problem. I wish they'd solve. Like, it seems they're releasing the guys they shouldn't with relative ease. Marchisio, Buffon, and Chiellini, and blah blah blah, Del Piero, and the guys that should be pushed out ends up staying all the time and eventually leaving for free.
Yeah.
So what's his current contract?
Till 2024. One more year.
He's got one more season.
Okay.
Entering the final.
I'll answer the question with a question. When was the last time Juventus pushed a player out? I guess Mandzukic.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dybala.
No. Melo, Arthur, Zakaria. I mean, these guys have been pushed out.
But a player like that, like
McKennie, it was reported McKennie just wanted to leave the second we got
after being shopped for quite some time.
Yeah, I don't. Maybe I should rephrase. I don't see someone of like Bonucci's sort of status with the club. I guess the last time
Mandzukic.
Yeah, you could say Mandzukic. Yeah, he's up on the wall. Yeah. Bonucci's been around a long time, though. He's been here a long time.
Oh yeah, but like they push guys out all the time.
Doesn't matter.
I don't see them pushing them out. I don't see them extending them. Let's put it that way.
I just think they have there's nowhere to go. Like nobody's gonna come in and buy Bonucci.
Yeah, like, I don't see them.
Our only hope is some mid-table team paying like 10 million, and that's it.
I think he'd play a backup role than leave. I think he'd rather do that. I think he's going to finish at Juventus. I can't see him playing with another team.
I don't.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it. It will just end there. But yeah, let's get to another one and keep them coming. Everybody, keep the Storm the Barns coming. With PSG having Skriniar on a pre-contract, they will probably be looking to sell center back. Should we be going for Ramos, cheap alternative,
Ramsey,
or Kimpembe, more long term?
Ramos, no, injured a lot. Just
it's past the point of it being something we need to look at.
He's ready. He's ready for TFC.
Our signings need to be long term. And
there we go.
And when we talk about Kimpembe or any future targets, there's so much uncertainty right now. We can't even really get to that. We've got to wait until some serious dust settles.
Remember when Juve signed Lucio? That's how I feel about Ramos.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a nothing move. Honestly, sign no one. We've been hearing, I believe is the name. Promote him. We're going with youngsters. We have 4 defenders now, maybe 5. Promote this guy and let him start playing and gain experience.
And this is another thing why I talk about an Apex kind of hitting the nail on the head. If we're talking targets, we have got to wait until the dust settles because that's going to be the hardest thing to try and like, and we're hearing it. This was also in the news too that we didn't catch. Grimaldo. So Grimaldo, all of a sudden, there's nothing coming out of it from Juve's side anymore, obviously, since what was going down. They were apparently talking quite a bit. There was terms that could have been agreed upon, personal terms, but all that stopped. And make no mistake, the uncertainty has pretty much everything to do with it. Yes, he's got some other teams interested and whatnot, but that went from so much smoke to just nothing. Yeah, we are definitely going to get into that with Mirko Di Natale on Saturday morning. Just to give everybody a little bit of insight of how that show is going to go. It's literally going to be a rundown on Juve's roster and Juve Next Gen in terms of what all the intel he has on the players their contracts, where they stand, and what the future could look like. And I'm really looking forward to that and just picking his brain on that. But even especially for Juve next gen, because guys like him, Romeo Gresti, they're around those guys all the time. And Mirko covers it. That's why we had to postpone the last show with him. It's because he got called in to go and cover Juve versus Piacenza. So he sees these guys all the time. So it's going to be good stuff. But
I got something to add to that center back one.
Fire away.
Is that a main focus, or should left back be a main focus?
Fullbacks and center back. But yeah, we need fullback help big time.
Right.
And Sandro and Quadrado are leaving this season. So it's like you have to do something there. And it can't be fillers. Like you need guys ready to go. Yep. You need your 1As. Like big time.
I agree that center back, you look at it, but our fullbacks are going to be hurting this summer.
You need that solid partner for Bremer in a back four. You need to be able to go to a back four comfortably. Like when we were talking 4-3-3 there, I don't see a back four that I'm comfortable with. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry, not sorry.
I think we can postpone any talks of transfers right now. No one is going to sign for a club who's uncertain where it's going to be. You can't talk to Grimaldo and tell him, yeah, we're one of the biggest clubs in Italy and we're going this and that. And after a week, we'll get demoted to Serie B. Like no players want to land in this situation. So we'll have to let the dust settle. Hard for me to believe they're talking with anyone right now if they're a bit logical. But if the dust settles and everything is fine, I have 3 names to go all out for to fix our defensive and fullback situations.
They're definitely kicking the tires on players. The phones aren't completely cut off. They're making calls. Did I see Cherubini at the game yesterday?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, he was sitting there. Yeah, he was out there with
Carl there. Yeah, okay.
We're still going to see, I think, a lot of movement with young guys come summer. And we might see more integration than being talked about, obviously, with the circumstances and everything. But you could see a lot more integration. The list of names goes on, but Rovella, Ranocchia potentially.
That's the only certainty.
Keenan Yildiz potentially. Like the list goes on and on, but given the circumstance too, it could be a lot more than we anticipate. So again, time's going to tell. We just have to wait, and we're going to be waiting a while. March 27th, preliminary hearing for the Prisma case and whatnot. Like this thing's far from over, far from settled, and we're not going to have clear, definitive answers on this for quite some time.
But if things do go south, we still have a bunch of players coming back for all of these roles. We still have Connie De Winter out and Cambiasso out and some midfielders going around. And we have guys, like you said, Kenan Yildiz and Sule, who's already playing. Like, it's not all doom and gloom. We have something to fall back on.
I will say this for anybody that's getting their hopes up on some of these other guys that went out on potentially coming back, like guys like Zaccaria. I don't see anything happening with Zaccaria other than Juve pushing him out. That's what been early reports. Again, we'll let Mirko Di Natale touch on that, but Artur, same thing. It's just going to be this issue for Juve of trying to move these guys. I don't think Zaccaria was given a fair shot. However, it is what it is. I think Juve's made up their minds on guys. Kind of falls into the same thing with Luca Pellegrini. Could have come
what's
in,
his deal?
Help the fullback, but there wasn't even a thought for Juve. And I think that Zaccaria and Artur are in that same boat. Not even a thought for Juve. So it's going to be interesting. Cambiasso, I do see him coming into the squad next season. So it's going to be interesting to see. Jeremiah. Hey, guys, this is how Juve should be playing consistently. This is the system and style of play we were always capable of, to go on the offensive and dominate the opposition. Agreed. Well, I mean, it's not much of a question, to be honest. It's more just your statement. But, I mean, yeah, of course. We've been saying you don't even have to say it. You could just look at this team and, yeah, we're inconsistent. Are we capable of playing like this all the time? Absolutely. We just don't, for whatever reason. Player performances, whatever. You go back to that Napoli game. The part that bugs me the most is that was not even close to our best showing or even a half-ass showing from Juve. And Bremer literally was
worst
dog
game.
shit.
That was his worst game, man.
It was unbelievable. So it's not our best show. Are we capable of doing what we did yesterday? Yeah, but we have to see us not be fearful against strong opposition. So yeah, in short, yeah, we're capable of that. Of course we are.
I think a part of that too is that, and hopefully this sunk into Max's head, is that when you're in second, right, you're trying to stay with the pack leaders. You're trying to, match what they do. Okay, Napoli sort of run away with it, but you want to win every game, but it's a lot more of a chess match. Where we are now, you have to win. Like there's no if, ands, or buts. It has to be 3 points now every week. So hopefully that's sunk into Max's head. Is like you got to go balls to the walls now.
Yeah,
every match.
Yeah, we're gonna go to Arash here, and his saying, who would you pick to play alongside Locatelli, Fagioli, and three-man midfield, including the guys who are here, like Pogba and Rabiot, or the guys coming back next season? I will reiterate that the guys come back next season will not be in this team. Like, I think Juve's done and dusted for them, but I would still go with Pogba. If Pogba's available to play, he makes our midfield. Period. For me,
it's hard to argue with
no
that.
point. I think what's cool is that you can mix things up. Look at that. Like if Pogba's available right now, you could choose to do a two-man pivot. And I'm fine with Locatelli and Fagioli being the pivots and push Pogba a little further up. Or you could play him as a flat three and Locatelli could be your defensive side. And those two can both move forward, Pogba and Fagioli. You have options. You can go a two-man base with Locatelli and Rabiot that is shown to be quite formidable and then push Pogba forward. Fagioli can then come on and be pushed forward out of the midfield. You have options, but make no mistake about it. Pogba's fit. He makes our midfield. Like,
yeah,
he has to.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Literally nothing to add. Pogba's only downside is his defensive game. Like he's been drafted at Man United for McFred, what's their names? Fred and McTominay. Because he doesn't do defensive work. So if he is put inside the starting lineup, the starting three, it should be with two guys who do defensive work and cover a lot of ground, which can either be right now Locatelli Rabiot or Locatelli Fagioli. He can be paired there with Miretti, for example, or with Paredes as CDM. He needs two guys who work hard.
Yeah. So, with Rovella coming in next season, Rovella is a tricky one. A really, really strong two-man pivot, and like it's interesting. That is Luca naturally. I've been saying this forever. Two-man pivot is Luca all day.
Yeah.
But again, we'll wait and see. But
we've got Rovella is an interesting one.
Go.
Because Rovella is an interesting one because he plays basically Locatelli's role. But I'm curious to see how he performs in like a box-to-box Mezzala kind of role. I have yet to see him play that role. But it will be nice to have him, especially instead of Paredes, as even backup.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I will say this, for all the Paredes talk out there, don't worry, everybody. I mean, PSG is going to offer us a discount on him, and we're still going to say no. So have no fears there. Have no fears there. Michael Razzo coming in here. Would you guys prefer 3 signings in the summer or a new coach signing? That really depends, again, until the dust settles. But what do you guys think?
Really depends on the signings.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, what first indicate 3 signings. Like, what are we talking about here? Like three like backline help.
Can I just ask for all of it? All of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, preference. If it was only between the two,
gun to my head.
Signings. But obviously preferable to have it all and all be in sync. We still don't have a management team though, everybody. You gotta wait. Michael said, can't have it all. Can't have it all. All right.
I'm on the other side of the fence here. I wouldn't keep Allegri. I think we have a fairly decent squad. So a better manager, a more attacking, more advanced manager could do something different with this group of guys.
But the season hasn't finished. Season hasn't finished either. And like,
look, it's an hypothetical, so I'm hypothetically
but I'm just saying,
thinking.
Hypothetically, we finish, and if we get a point deduction back or we don't get a point back, whatnot. But let's say you take that penalty out, we sit in second comfortably. Is this not a second place team? I think it is. Especially if we hit second place with all this inconsistency, with all these injuries in which Juve still really, really needs to work on.
180 games missed.
Has he necessarily grossly underachieved or anything? In Europe, yes, that was shocking. But again, I don't know. Like, it's just like, this would be a second place Juve side. Maybe that's saying too much for the roster because we have clear roster problems.
I think it says a lot about the league as well. Like, everyone is dropping points left, right, and center except for Napoli. I mean, the fact that they have the biggest margin from second place ever is an indictment of that. Milan are in a free fall, Lazio inconsistent, Atalanta inconsistent. Even Inter, who are pretty solid, are still like 13 points behind and suddenly losing to Empoli. I mean, Juve were in second place because they won 8 games in a row and because other teams failed to keep it consistent and win.
Yeah.
And this is where I'm not a max in or out guy. I'm for the club. But it's without that point deduction, we're in second place. Like, what?
And I think,
okay, we all agree. Like, everyone's like, we want to win Champions League. Face it, people. We're not a Champions League caliber team. Not yet. Not right now.
And just again, I'm with.
That's where I disagree.
Everybody knows where I stand with Max Allegri. Okay, so
yeah,
don't take this as Max in by any means. But if you're looking at this roster, okay,
with the injury.
If you're looking at this roster, if you go back to some of these games and you look at the lineups that we played, not because Max chose them, because we pretty much had no other decisions that could be made at those positions, and we covered the games. We talked about the line, like, who would you put there? Like, this in a lot of those games, this is who you're kind of left with, and you have to go with due to injury, whatever, everything.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not a player problem.
If you look at that and you look at this team and you start looking at rotation now, even now, who do you want to put in the middle of the park outside of Rabiot, Locatelli, Fagioli? You don't even want to play Paredes. And I agree, I wouldn't. Don't play the guy. We sold McKennie, and McKennie was doing nothing. You've got Miretti. Now Miretti's out 3 weeks. Right now, we're locked into these guys until Miretti gets back because you've got nothing to rotate. You've got nothing to rotate. If you want to talk about wing backs, while Cuadrado gets hurt, we had to use McKennie, for Christ's sake. Deschilio's back. He might as well not be. Kostic is so inconsistent and has a lot of struggles. Yesterday. Our back three, our best back three has been the Brazilians, and there has been games where they have been shocking. So, with all due respect to, wanting a coaching change and all this and whatnot, I'm telling you that this roster, if you put them in second place, I think that's probably maybe a bit better considering all things standing. The inconsistencies, and yes, I'm not saying that we play great football because we know we haven't been able to or whatnot. Yeah. But again, I would just like to once this fucking season see with our guys, with Pogba in there and everything, and Di Maria and Chiesa and everything thriving, and Vlahovic in this new system finally, second game back, bag to brace there. Do we get things going? Like, I would just like to see and just be able to know. So again, it's tough to just hammer it all down on one guy because There's a lot of shit going on right now.
A lot.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm with you, big guy.
Yeah. One day at a time, one game at a time, everybody. We're on to Fiorentina on Sunday. We will see what happens there. Got to get another 3 points. Do not expect formation changes. I expect it all the same. And then, of course, we have Nantes in Europa League on Thursday, okay? We have Mirko Di Natale live Saturday. Everybody in the chat, reminder, like the video, okay? If you're new here, subscribe to the channel. It's all Juve all the time. That's all you need to know. So if you're a diehard Juve fan, or even you support another team and you just want to be kept in the loop on everything Juve, smash the subscribe button. To all of you in the AJC Army, you guys are great. I see it all the time in the comments to videos, reaching out on DMs, loving the content. I thank you guys, and I will remind you all, it goes a long way to share the content. If you choose to clip sections of our videos, interesting discussion points that you want to share out there, either on Juve Facebook groups, other languages and groups on Facebook, Instagram, anything, feel free to clip bits of the show and send it out. Feel free to share links on the shows. It all helps. Thank you very much for everybody that's been supporting the merch store. Again, Amici di Nessuno couldn't have come out at a better time, because that has been the theme of all the news this week going around Juve. That's another way to support the channel. You guys have been great. There's been a very, very good show. A lot of different stuff that we touched on. As always, Saturday with Mirko will be the next live show. Look forward to seeing you all there. Again, like this video. Till then, I'll have the daily update videos for you. But as always, fino alla fine, forza Juve. One day at a time, one game at a time.
Take it easy. One day at a time.
3-0 against Salernitana. Let's see what happens against Fiorentina. All right. Ciao tutti. Take care. Oh, and by the way, yes, I will set that up, and we are going to have FIFA Pro Clubs, and then you guys can see my pro player in action. His name is Juju Beppe. See you then. Ciao tutti.